Hey, everybody, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
I'm your other host, Don.
And surprise, this is pre-recorded.
Pre-record.
Somebody has to work tonight, so we pre-recorded this in the afternoon. Streamed it at our normal time because we promised we would be here on Sundays, and we are here. You can comment all you want. You can call us jerks. We don't mind.
We just need the engagement.
Yes, exactly. That's all we care about. What are we talking about? We're going to be talking about Frankenstein. I don't have my email in front of me. Let me.
We are actually, for a long time, I don't know if me and you have even done this together outside of a superhero movie, just reviewed a movie.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Let's see. We got a little bit of, well, I don't know if it's news, but talk about the Batgirl movie cancellation. An update on Superman, because we're talking about, did it make money? Didn't it make money? Well, we'll talk about that. And let's see. And then there's some delusional people talking about Acolyte.
Yeah, that's funny that you throw that in. I can always kind of tell Dave's sometimes his pre-commentary on a subject by the way he titles, the news item. And yeah, delusional. I was like, oh, all right.
And let's see. And then we'll talk about this in a second, actually. Sydney Sweeney is in the news again, kind of. And then one more Star Wars article that came up at the last minute, but I think we'll need to talk about that as well. But yeah, with all that being said, how are you, sir? How has your week been? Are you ready for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's been busy, and it's only going to get busier as the holidays proceed. We are ready for Thanksgiving. In fact, my mother-in-law, who's going to be hosting this year, pretty much ordering everything out.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I work at a event center / banquet hall that does like turkeys and hams for the holidays.
Well, there you go.
We're like, screw it. So there's that. That's about it. Just busy working. But at this moment, and it's got not really nothing to do with me, but my family, minus me and my son, are currently, as I speak, as recording this when I speak, or they went to go see what is it called? Wicked for Good.
Yes.
So I'll hear how that is soon. I'll start to hear my wife play all the songs just like she does for the first one.
My
dress for work.
The original plan was that my girlfriend's son, who is, I mean, this has nothing to do with it. I'm just putting it out there, but he loves this stuff and he's gay. So I think that plays into it a little bit. We all went, the three of us went and saw the first one and he loved it. So we were going to go see the second one. That was the plan. And then some of his friends were like, and he did go see it with his friends after us. Some of his friends were like, oh, we want to go see it. So their plan was to go see it Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving. And he's like, but I still want to go with you guys. So maybe we'll go over the weekend after Thanksgiving. We're like, okay, fine. Well, him and his best friend went last night to go see the movie. And so, and he comes back like, don't tell my brother or any of my other friends that I saw it already. I'm going to act surprised.
Oh.
But he loved it. So I'm going to imagine it's good. So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. What about you, Dave? How's your week been?
Uneventful. Work has been extremely slow because I got a big project done at the end of the last, what we call iterations is how we break our work up.
Yep.
And then I'm waiting on information to do the next part of these changes that they want. And it's been like pulling teeth to get the information. I'm not doing anything. I was told not to by my boss. Like, don't do anything. Let the business handle this. They'll get the information. It's like, all right, fine. So I'm just like in a holding pattern on that. And then, just basic stuff. Saw the girlfriend, of course. I went over her house this weekend, and then went grocery shopping with her day. Woohoo, fun. That's what happens when you're middle-aged and dating and been together for 4 years.
And can afford grocery shopping. So, hey, good for you.
Yeah, I know. It's tough times. But yeah, like nothing else. So for Thanksgiving, I go to my daughter's every year, but she recently moved to York, PA, which is like the middle of the state, basically, way out west from Philly. But we're still going. So, and she's vegan.
Over the river and through the woods.
She's vegan. I think I've said this before on the show. So, I make the turkey and the stuffing for all the non-vegan people. Okay. And then she makes a bunch of sides, and then does they do, fake turkey.
They do, yeah.
For the vegan people. So yeah, I got all the stuff I need to make the stuffing and whatnot. She's surprisingly got a free turkey from because they're members of BJ's. So she's like, I'll handle getting the turkey, which shocked me. Hopefully she got a good size one. My thing is always, and it's funny because like I've had people say, oh, but it's a waste if you don't eat it all. It's like, no, we end up eating most of it, and like leftovers, my son and I will eat it for 3-4 days after Thanksgiving. We love turkey. So
see, I am advocating to my family that we stop with the turkey because I like ham, or I'd really love to fully go over to steak on Thanksgiving. Really be great. But you know what's funny? My mom's a vegetarian, so I don't want to tell this joke about your daughter. I'm going to tell about my mom. But it's funny because, just like you said, you get that faux turkey, or that faux hamburger, but it's vegetarian. And I could never quite get over the fact, I could never understand a person that says, okay, I don't want to hurt animals, I'm not going to eat meat, but I do want to pretend. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, no,
that's just not my wavelength. So, I understand, but I don't understand
all the time too, because like, it's weird that people want to eat stuff that looks and tastes like meat especially people that are doing it for the ethical reasons. It's like, well, okay, but then don't. But yeah, they do.
Green beans, potatoes.
She eats those Impossible burgers or whatever they're called.
A lot of people do.
And don't get me wrong, I've had them, and it's like they're not bad. They're still not quite meat. Like, it's close, but it's not the same.
The closest thing I've ever had to something that was like, oh, okay, this is kind of tricking me. And believe it or not, it was stir-fried tofu. Tasted really good. That tricked me a little bit.
I don't know if you go to like Asian restaurants, Thai food and whatnot.
All you can eat sushi buffet is, they got away with a hibachi.
So mapa, I think is how it's pronounced, is a dish, and it's usually noodles. And you can get it with pork in it, but they also do it with tofu. And the first time I ever actually had tofu and I'm like, oh, this is good, was mapa tofu at a Thai restaurant. I used to go with some people I worked with.
Yeah.
And because it's stir fried in the sauce, and it just takes on the flavor of the sauce. And when you fry it, it does get a good texture to it. So it can be good, but all the time, nah, that's not for me. The other thing, I wanted to bring this up, and I wasn't necessarily making part of the news, but it kind of touches the nerd world a little bit. Sydney Sweeney, right? Like, was in a commercial for Blue Jeans. For
the
American
famous
Eagle. Yes. And because the jeans, the American Eagle tagline is, great genes and Sydney Sweeney, and she's well, let's be honest, she's a very hot blonde in these commercials. People took that as some kind of white supremacist take, and then she was recently in an interview with I can't remember what magazine. It was like the thing that was weird. It was like a men's magazine, and it was a woman doing the interviewing a woman. And I'm
Big
like,
magazine still.
well, they're all
That's
on
the
websites
news.
now. But the interviewer was trying to like get her to quote unquote apologize for being in this ad, and she just wouldn't have anything of it. Which good for her. Let her, she was just like, if I have something to say, I'll say it. But she was also in a biopic movie called Christy, which was about a female boxer. I don't remember the actual boxer's name. I was trying to find it. Christy Martin. That's her name. So it's a story about her, and the movie came out, and it didn't do great in the box office, right? So Ruby Rose, who played Batwoman for one season, by the way, on CW, and
yep.
There's a whole slew of stuff that has come out about it since then. We never really talked about it on the show, but apparently there was some kind of insurance fraud going on where she got hurt doing that a low budget movie, and they didn't have the insurance to pay for her medical bills. So she came to the Batgirl set and said she got hurt on the set there to try to get them to pay. But it came out later like, no, she actually got hurt doing this movie.
Okay.
So she's a little bit questionable herself, but she came out and bashed Sydney Sweeney, saying she ruined the movie and it's why the movie flopped. Because first off, Christy Martin is a lesbian, and the movie part should have gone to an actual lesbian. I don't know where you stand on that. I don't really think an actor's an actor, right? Like, like if you're gonna do a movie about I don't know, let's say Hitler, should you get an actual white supremacist to play Hitler? Like, come on. It's like there are certain lines, and like I get it. You should stay true in some ways, but I don't think that matters much. But she bashed it or whatnot. And then the actual Christy Martin came out and said, like, no, me and Sydney Sweeney are friends. I think she did an amazing job. She worked really hard. She spent a lot of time with me to learn about me, to portray me properly on screen. And Sydney Sweeney came out and said, sometimes you make art for art's sake, because at the core of the story, it's a story about domestic abuse. And she said, I felt it was a story that needed to be told. And hopefully if one woman who's being abused gets the courage to stand up and leave the situation she's in because she saw me in this movie, then I've done my job. It's not about making money at the box office. It's about that. So I loved it that she put Ruby Rose in her place with that. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Ruby Rose should have made the comments she did, or?
Well, should she have made the comments? No, but what else is Ruby Rose ever going to be known for? It's, like just her final, flailings, I mean, what?
I agree. And I kind of feel like that's what this was. It was like, I'm not relevant right now, so let me come out and do something.
So Sydney Sweeney's in the hot seat for being a, not liberal, big titty blonde, which I don't know why all like the bodacious blondes are on the conservative side. I don't have a dog in this fight. This is an observation.
Works for me.
It happens, and here we go. So, and pair this with the ad that people on the internet took offense to.
Yeah.
She's just a target right now, and it's just a way for Ruby Rose to get back into the limelight, apparently after trying to commit some sort of workman's compensation fraud. So
Yeah, because I mean, that's the thing is, what has she been in since Batgirl? Like,
I haven't even heard her name until you added that email. You're like,
yeah.
oh, I'm like Ruby Rose. I had to think for a minute.
So
Oh,
yeah,
she's the Batgirl that did get to, have something on screen.
on TV
Yeah.
and didn't do well. Well, Batwoman, sorry, not
Right.
Batgirl.
Right. Yeah.
Two completely different characters, apparently. All right, well,
Take your word
that's
for it.
our take on it. You let us know in the comments down below for right or for wrong. But if my choice is between Ruby Rose and Sydney Sweeney, the heart wants what the heart wants. And the male junk wants what the male junk wants. Anyway, on that lovely note, you know what? Let's have our good friend Dark Dawn come in at just the right time and tell you where you can find more superhero speak.
Darth Dawn here. And you must subscribe to Superhero Speak if you haven't already. And if you have already, make another account and subscribe again. You also will like this video. And while you're on the HoloNet, go to superheroespeak.com. Find the links to our merch and purchase one of our shirts. Don't skimp on the shipping, or else I will trap you in a box with an agitated gundog named Brie Larson. I would just force lightning you, but we don't have that in the effects budget. Now, back to the show.
Also, if you go right now, hit that like and that subscribe button, you click that bell for notifications, Sydney Sweeney will, come to your house and sell you a pair of jeans. Who knows? But sources tell me. So don't miss out.
Unanimous, unverifiable sources.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about some news. It's a shame we're not live because we don't have Kassan yelling at us about this next article or this first article. Apparently, Superman, the James Gunn Superman movie, did make money. According to a report from DC Warner Brothers, the movie actually made $100 million profit after all of the expenses and all was said and done. So,
Told
yay.
you.
Yeah, you're like the biggest advocate for like, yeah, this movie definitely made money. So what did you think when you heard this news?
Well, I mean, I just, felt extreme wave of vindication for being right. And that's it. So, yeah, it's too bad this isn't live. So, poke more at Kassan. But hey, I'm sure he's watching. And oh, no, wait, it's NFL season. So he may never even see this, actually.
Yeah. They both Kassan and Thrawn have admitted they have a hard time coming back.
But if you're not Kassan and you're just a listener, what do you think?
Yeah. What do you think? Think the movie was good? It made money. Obviously, they're going to be making a bunch more. We got Supergirl coming out. We've got apparently a Clayface movie coming out, and we've got Man of Tomorrow all on the docket. We know they're being worked on, and we will be getting those movies at least. So,
yeah, we'll see if Clayface is in overreach. That's a little bit.
Here's the thing, right? Like, and I hate to be one of these people. If it wasn't James Gunn, I would be like, this is complete overreach. I feel like he has a plan, and this story ties into the DCU somehow.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I mean, he did it with Peacemaker, so
he did it with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
yeah.
when they announced that movie, everyone's like, Guardians of the Galaxy, what?
Who the frick
And
are
ended
these
up
guys?
ended up being a lot of people's favorite MCU movie. So, yeah, I can't.
Well, they learned the power of the fur in that movie too with Rocket.
So I'm cautiously optimistic for it. We'll see. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Superman made money, and I'm
Made money,
glad.
successfully launched the DCU.
I am glad we were right on this podcast,
Yeah.
especially you. But we both were like, yeah, this
Yeah, it's made money.
yeah, this made money. There's no way it didn't make money. So
They wouldn't be announcing a sequel if they didn't discover that. Hey, oh, we can pay bills with this. Okay, sweet.
yep. All right, you want to talk a little Star Wars?
Yes,
You love Star Wars, and
I do love Star Wars.
so let's start with the later story that I brought.
Okay.
So we've got Ryan Johnson, who famously directed uh, The Last Jedi, which I present company excluded, is, I don't know how you feel, but is most people's least favorite, at least of the new trilogy movies, right? Because it felt like J.J. Abrams kind of built a bunch of stuff up and set a bunch of things up to go forward, and then he walked away, and Ryan Johnson went, screw that, I'm going to do my own thing. And he totally tore everything down that J.J. Abrams built up, and uh, a lot of people weren't happy with that, but yet he had gotten greenlit to do his own trilogy. And in fact, the rumors were it was going to be Rey's story continuing after the Rise of Skywalker. So that trilogy has been officially canceled over at Lucasfilm. There will not be a Ryan Johnson trilogy. As far as we know, the next movie will be Mandalorian and Grogu, and I think that's. And then we've got
And then the Hunt for Ben Solo.
We also have the what you call it movie, the Starfighter, right?
Starfighter, the Ahsoka show.
Well, yeah, Ahsoka season 3 or 4. So,
Oh,
oh, and there is Ahsoka season 2, and there is rumors there will be a Mandalorian season 4, which I think is weird to go to the big screen and then go back to TV, but we'll see what happens there. So yeah, are you shocked that it was canceled? Are you upset it was canceled? What was your feelings when you saw that?
no, I wasn't upset when it was. I mean, I thought this was already common knowledge that wasn't happening, so I was surprised, but only because, like, yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, the sky is blue. Like, okay.
Well, I will say, yeah, there hasn't been news about it in a while, but this is like, no, it officially came out. Like, yeah, we're not doing this.
I mean, good for them, because why take it in a direction? Why use a director that we know that is already going to come with abrasion, especially when it's hard to make money with movies now.
Yeah.
Superman was awesome. I went to see it twice. It made money, but yeah, it made 100, all that for 100. It sounds ridiculous, but they're not making billions of dollars, with movies. So you have to be really critical about the choices on what you're going to spend your resources on.
True.
And so, yeah, I mean, why spend resources on something that is ultimately going to have barriers?
Yeah.
Forget it. Go in another direction. The Mandalorian stuff is working. Now, if you want to pursue beyond the sequels, then yeah, the Hunt for Ben Solo, it's right there. I mean that would be the only thing. Like, why? Who would care about anything else right now, movie-wise? Star Wars. I mean, I'm excited for the Starfighter, but do you think normal people are like,
let's
Oh, it's they barely care about Mandalorian Grogu.
I mean, let's be 100% honest here as well, because and I hate to say it this way, but I do feel like there were people who liked Ben Solo, Darth, not Darth. I'm sorry. What was his?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Thank you, Kylo Ren, more than they liked Rey, because
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, I feel like Kylo Ren has more of a consistent through line story
The
and
shit factor. I mean,
an actual arc.
mhm.
Like, you see, he wants to follow in his grandfather's footsteps, and he's trying to be on the dark side, and he has anger in his heart because of what happened with him, with his uncle who was training him, and at the end he redeems himself to stop, Palpatine from returning and help Rey defeat him and all this. Like, so he has an arc of somebody who had anger, regrets it, and becomes the hero at the end, where in a lot of ways, I'm sorry, Rey is very much a Mary Sue, and like, there's too much weirdness with her character. Like, you think she's going to be something in the first movie, somehow related to the main bloodline, and then they do that weird thing in The Last Jedi in the cave, where there's a reflection of her over and over again, and you're
Yeah.
like, what does that mean? Because it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then it's like, oh yeah, you're Palpatine's granddaughter. Like, where did that come from?
From his clone son.
Right, like, that doesn't
Yeah.
even
No,
make sense. Yeah.
I know. Maybe I haven't even vocaled this. I mean, I don't know if I'd had reason to, but I totally view the sequels as Ben Solo, Kylo Ren's story.
Yeah.
I totally do.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense, right? Because a lot of people don't realize this, but Lucas has come out and said that the 6 movies he made are Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker story. And it, like, when you look at it, you're like, oh god, it is. Like, yeah, Luke is an important character, but it's all Anakin Skywalker's story.
mhm.
So yeah, it makes sense that the sequels would be his grandson's story, who has a similar through line, a similar story arc. So
I
yeah.
mean, and to me, they were trying to veer away from the Skywalker saga without making a hard left.
Yeah.
And what they did though is show you exactly why they shouldn't have done that. At least not if you're going to put a Skywalker Solo in it, or and then have him fucking be acted by Adam Driver. Like,
Yeah.
they gave Daisy Ridley an impossible task to carry a franchise. It's like, you're 3'5", 100 pounds, and your brother's 6 foot tall, 300. They're like, hey, wrestle. Let's see which one wins. Like, so that to me is actually one criticism I do have about the sequel trilogy, of which I do have a couple. I'm not saying they're perfect. I do enjoy them. Just like you mentioned, the Last Jedi, Ryan,
Johnson.
Ryan Johnson. I like, as a Star Wars fan, how can I not like the last time we get to see Luke Skywalker played by Mark Hamill on screen? Like,
True.
and this can almost bleed into the Leslie Headland
Well, hold on.
discussion.
But let me
Yeah,
correct you. It wasn't the last time I got to see him as Luke Skywalker, because The Mandalorian
correct,
season 2 came
correct.
out after
But
that.
not played by Mark Hamill. But not played by Mark Hamill. That's the
Yeah,
key.
it was in a way. It was his voice, and they tried to CGI his face on the actor. But go ahead.
Okay, so we see, guys, when it comes to AI, Dave's a little bit more accepting than he's a little.
Hey.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm joshing. But anywho, but because the main problem with The Last Jedi, and even to you, Dave, with your major problem with Acolyte being that Yoda was aware of this fucked up incident, this shady incident, that are kind of make the Jedi sus, and like, oh no, that's that's not Yoda. Well, yeah, it is. I mean, and I know that a lot of people don't know it, but there is fucked up shit that Yoda knew about, and he hid because he didn't want the Senate to it was a political thing between the Jedi and the Senate. So that sort of shit did go on, and that's not to say they're bad people. Yoda's a bad person or character. It just kind of shows you where the hubris of the Jedi dogma and the Jedi organization came, and it was not really the true representation. They leaned on their code, and they did not lean on the will of the Force, and that in itself is the ultimate grade or lack thereof of the Jedi. Is like you abandoned the will of the Force. That's where things kind of break, and that's the lesson there. People just don't like it. So anyway, that's why I like Last Jedi a lot more than most people.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I get it.
No, and here's the thing too, right? Like, well, okay, but no, hold on. Let's because this kind of ties into the other story, and you already mentioned the Acolyte. So, Leslie Headland was in a recent interview. You sent this to me, and basically comes out and is like, she knew it was going to be canceled. She said the writing was on the wall, and the article goes on to talk about how it was the highest rated show on Disney Plus for the first 2 episodes, and then the viewership took a nosedive after that. And so she was kind of, and it was funny because in the article there's also a link to the actress who played the main character. Can't think of her name.
She was Amandla Stenberg.
Yeah,
I'm butchering it, but
who played both the sisters in the show.
Jay and Osha.
Right. Who came out and said the only reason that the show was canceled is because the racist, sexist people put an online campaign against it, and blah 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 blah. People stopped watching because of them. I'm like, and Leslie Headland is sitting there saying in the interview, like, oh, this is important topics that we're talking about, and we got to keep doing it, and blah blah blah. And it's just like, dude, slow your roll. The show was canceled. People stopped watching it because, I'm sorry, Don, the writing was horrible. There was a lot of bad writing in that show, period. And people were like, this isn't good. I don't want to watch it. That's why the ratings took a nosedive. People gave it a chance. Everyone went and saw it and then was like, And it's funny because, like, if this had been on regular TV, it would have been canceled after 2 episodes and no other episodes would have been aired. But because it's on Disney Plus and the whole thing's already filmed, they just continued putting it on there, And I think that's an important point to bring up as well. Like, if they had only aired the first 2 episodes, I don't think any, and then they canceled it, there wouldn't be many people talking about it. It would have just been like a flash in the pan and would have been done, But because they put the whole thing on, people talk about the storylines, like Yoda at the end ended up knowing this stuff and people were unhappy about that, or if this is the start of the Sith, why was it by the time I got the Phantom Menace, no one had heard of the Sith? Why was it all covered up? And they tried to like explain it all in the last episode too. I hate that stuff when it's like, oh, in the last episode we're going to throw all this stuff in there to make it make sense, And you had Palpatine's master, Plagueis shown for half a second in the background, as in, like, again, thrown in the last episode to be, you let us keep going, you'll get Plagueis. And it's just like, no, do that throughout the show and make it more interesting and more intriguing, and then perhaps you would have had a second season. Like, don't throw a bunch of stuff at the end and be like, hey, can make us continue, I don't know. Uh I still think it's, I don't know. Anyway, what was your take on? Because you said you thought she had some interesting points. What was your take on Leslie Headland's not surprise, but disappointment of her show being canceled?
Yeah, she did make a valid point when she was talking about the fact that the internet a-holes, like us that do the review or shock and all that, when we're creating content about Star Wars, that Disney is using that as a focus group and kind of letting that rule their opinion of what's going on. Makes sense because we see that, again, good idea. Save the Hunt for Ben Solo, right? That movie gets stomped out by Iger because, again, the backlash that Star Wars has been having. So I agree with her on that point that, Disney is misguided as far as like if they're just listening to us here that get on the internet and make shows and videos and talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, but I got to push back on that. Like, again, the ratings took a nosedive after the second episode. All the Star Wars fans, because here's the thing: you have the biggest franchise. As long as I've been doing this show, and it's 14 years now, going on 14 years, that we've been doing this podcast and following all of this stuff in social media, or in media, in the nerd world. The biggest franchise every time, hands down, is Star Wars. Period. There's no discussion on that. Like, they blow Marvel and DC and any other nerd franchise you can think of out of the water because it's Star Wars, and it's not just an American thing. It's a worldwide phenomenon. Everyone loves Star Wars. If you can't make a Star Wars show work, it's not because online people are saying it's bad. If you like something and it's written well, you don't care what the critics say. You keep watching it. Where if this was the most brilliant written thing and there was just people who had problem with it because of the quote unquote woke agenda, or they didn't like a woman of color as the lead or whatever, which is all bullshit, people would have stopped watching it. People would have kept watching it if it was brilliantly written. If it was the greatest Star Wars thing ever, people would have watched it all the way through. But they watched the first episode and they saw rocks catch on fire. They saw fire in space. They saw, just like
lesbian space, which is and a very blasphemous act.
They see the what's her face from the Matrix come in, like, because she was she was a selling point on the show. Like, her being in it was like, oh, she's in it, like, let's watch it. They kill her off in the first episode, like, and it's not, I mean, not saying that's the only thing, but there's a bunch of this stuff that just like doesn't make sense and it doesn't work, and it's just the weird inconsistent through line of the show, and it's just not well written. And I did a video on the channel not that long ago, like little things they could have done to have made it a better show, but like I felt like they didn't care about a good story. They felt like they had an agenda to tell, and that's what they did.
And there is where we actually kind of agree. So I know you said you disagreed with me, but the only thing that I'm agreeing with here with Leslie is the fact that Disney does use us internet people, commentators, far too much as focus groups. Hence why we got Moon Knight and other programs. The Acolyte failed for a variety of reasons. Okay, let's think back to what was 4 or 5 years ago where the political climate was way more left at the time. I guess I would say we had the
Okay.
cancel culture in full bloom, right? But okay, here's the thing about Star Wars. Okay, whether you like it or not, it is the fandom is mostly it is a worldwide phenomenon. But as with comic books and stuff like that, the fandom is mostly somewhat conservative white dudes like myself. It's just numbers. We're just the whole majority thing going on that's not exactly intentional. It's just the way it is. Okay. So you make this Star Wars thing during this cancel culture period of time, but that still doesn't negate the fact that that's not what your audience really is. So you make this show, which does have not great writing, but it has some great aspects. May Osha, the lesbian space witch maid twins, it was a bad concept for the Star Wars fandom. And then you double that with Leslie Heslin being antagonistic before it came out. So yeah, people hate watched it. And then exactly what you said. Oh, okay, Rock's on fire, lesbian space witches. Apparently Anakin isn't a chosen one anymore. This sucks.
Yeah.
All the while, the main person, to further anger a white, somewhat conservative, and she's also she did some rap video, where she's twerking and being political. So all of that, it was horribly executed. Now, the introduction of Quimir and Plagueis, even and I can't remember the name. He eventually died. He was May and Osha's mentor. Just the corruption of the Jedi in that way, like all of that was interesting. But everything you just mentioned before it,
well, you just made
dead on arrival.
You just made an interesting point without, maybe you realized you did it. It's like, you got to write to your core audience. This idea of like, we want to expand the universe and bring more people in. It's like, okay, but you still need to write something that makes the core audience happy. And there's been a lot of things in a lot of genres or a lot of nerd things where they want, screw the core audience, we're going to do our own thing. And I think the Accolade is a great example of it. So I just saw a video the other day where there were some, not drafts, but ideas that were thrown around for Return of the Jedi, where Luke was going to be struggling more with going to the dark side. Like, he goes down a dark path after he finds out that Vader's his father and blah blah. And it's something that was explored in the novels.
Yeah.
Way more than it was in the movie. But Mark Hamill said to George Lucas at one point, he's like, "Oh, like, why aren't we going to do that? This is a really great idea." And George Lucas turned to him and said, "Because the movie's for kids. That's too adult of a concept to bring in, right?" And I know there's people that are going to sit there and argue, well, yeah, but the audience for Star Wars grew up. No, it didn't. It gains new people every iteration, right? Like, we've had this discussion on the show many times before. The prequels are one generation, like the original movies are our generation's Star Wars, and then the prequels came out, and there's a whole new generation that loved Star Wars from those movies, and the Clone Wars. My son, his favorite Jedi is Obi-Wan because of the prequels and the Clone Wars, like that's just how it works, and then as tough as it is for me to admit this, there are some kids that the sequel trilogy is their Star Wars. That's their first taste of it. And they're gonna love Rey or Kylo Ren or Poe or any of the characters from that movie. So from those movies. So the idea that that's what I'm getting at is people will sit there and say, well, the Acolyte is touching on more adult stuff, and it's growing up, and like, this idea of touching on the Jedi are corrupt and evil and blah. But that's the whole point. Like, it ruins the morality tale for kids, because if you're now saying good and evil is relative to like what's going on, it ruins the core of what Star Wars is. There's a light and a dark side. Like, that's the point. There's good and there's bad, and there is no gray. But everyone who wants to introduce gray and say that good and bad are relative are the people that are cynical adults looking at Star Wars saying like, oh, there is a gray area. And that's what the Acolyte was trying to explore. And I think they did a bad job at it as well, on top of it's really not what Star Wars is.
Okay. I mean, I think we have a difference there. Because when you look at the light and the dark side of the Force, now listen, I understand you can quote Lucas, all you like. Fact of the matter is, he sold Star Wars, so I mean, yes, he has a say in all that somewhat, but I think Star Wars has evolved beyond what Lucas made it to be. And I still enjoy it, but I think the Force has evolved. If you look at Darth Revan, he was a Jedi and Sith, and kind of did, kind of tempered them both. That's what, with Darth Don, I bet you wonder, like, why does he have a purple lightsaber? Why don't you have a red lightsaber? Well, because some Sith, very few, but some Sith do wield a purple lightsaber. And what a purple lightsaber symbolizes is someone that kind of had touched both the dark and the light, and has kind of tempered them both. So, and I dig that. I don't, I dig the fact that, the Jedi and Sith, light and dark, come from somewhat of a perversion, and not, a perversion of the Force, not doing its will, but perhaps trying to have its will done for you. So it's a whole thing. It could be a whole nother show. But anyway, for the Acolyte, though, all they had to do was create an incident that the Jedi had to try and cover up or whatever, while introducing Plagueis and Quimir, and I would be good to go. Their incident, though, again, what they chose was covering up lesbian space witches, making two children from the Force, while an actor and a director used that to be antagonistic somewhat. Which, okay, that's not going to help you.
They chose to cover up lesbian space witches.
Right. Yes. Those aggressive Jedi.
That should have been the name of the episode. Covering up lesbian space witches.
You can still just post it. Anyway.
No. Stick, because we're going to talk about the movie.
How dare they cover up those lesbian space
witches? Yes. All right. I forgot about the Brandon. We'll save that for another time. But I do want to talk real quick about the leaked Doomsday photos. Are they AI? Is any of this real? Is it fake? So there have been photos that have come out. There are photos where it looks like they're that just came out, where they're in a dressing room or whatever, getting makeup of what you call it, Gambit, played by no, I was gonna say John Cena. It's not John Cena. It's the other one.
Channing Tatum.
Right? Yeah. You got Magneto, and Picard. I mean, Professor X. You've got Masterson, or
Professor
whatever.
X in his pleather suit.
Yes, you've got Cyclops, and was it Nightcrawler? I think was the other one in the picture.
Yep.
So they're all standing there like posing for like a group shot as they're in their makeup chairs. Those were just leaked, quote unquote leaked, the other day. What really started this was there were some pictures again that were supposedly from a makeup trailer, people getting dressed up and stuff. One was Channing Tatum in his Gambit suit. one was a quote unquote picture of possibly Doomsday, Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. in his full costume. But then there was ones with like his face where it looked like he was scarred, obviously, because Doctor Doom was famously scarred. And Tobey Maguire, right? Because that's actually the big rumor right now, is that Tobey Maguire is the Spider-Man in Doomsday, because multiverse. And so and the funny thing is, like, these came out, and then I saw Screen Crush and some of the other channels that I watch doing videos like, well, this makes sense, and here's a good story that how you could make it Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man for Doomsday, and blah blah blah. And it was just like, whoa, it like exploded all over the internet. That being said, you sent me an article today that says, oh, they're all AI. However, there's no actual proof or definitive like statement from Marvel that no, these are all fake, right? No one's come out and definitively said these are real, these are fake, or whatever, which leads me down the path of believing some of these might be real, some of them are fake. And the only thing that I'm thinking, and I could be way off here, is the original pictures of Channing Tatum as Gambit that were leaked and the current ones of Channing Tatum that were just leaked. He's got a blood streak on his face, and it's in the same spot in those pictures. And AI is normally not that good at like repeating things. When you say, oh, make a picture of this guy doing this, which leads me to think, at least, I mean, we know like it's been confirmed he's Gambit, and it's in the same costume he wore in Deadpool Wolverine. So like, yeah, you can easily fake those. But what do you think? Do you think any of these are real? Do you think any of these are fake? Do you think Tobey Maguire is the Spider-Man in Doomsday?
Yeah, man, like, it's really kind of frustrating, to be honest with you, because honestly, how I feel about this, going back and forth, it's like if everything's real, nothing's real. Nothing's real, everything's real. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, looking at the pictures of Doctor Strange, he's got the Time Stone, which I don't think he should have. I was trying to scan for inconsistencies. I guess I really didn't see any, other than Patrick Stewart looks way younger, but that could just be makeup or whatever. And I don't know why. See, and I don't know. And like I said, it is shiny pleather suit.
Yeah,
I don't know why that would be.
I will give you that. There are inconsistencies with the Patrick Stewart Professor X photos, and it's, again, why not just put him in a green suit?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I don't know. We're gonna have to see anymore, man. Like, until Marvel comes out and says these are real, or hey, we're gonna sue you because these are real, which I guess is something I would expect at some point. I don't know. This is gonna be the wave we're riding till this freaking movie comes out.
And here's the thing: the movie doesn't come out to December of next year, so
I know.
We're not going to get a teaser trailer. At the possible earliest will be the Super Bowl, but I'm not even sure we would get one that early. So, yeah, so it's going to be a while before we get any proof or disproof of these. I mean, I swear, if the trailer comes out and there's a shot of Gambit and he's got blood running down his face on that side, I'm like, yeah, they're real. Yeah. So, but
okay.
But until then, yeah, like, we don't know. Because here's the thing too: there was a report at one point that they had stopped filming for a day on Brand New Day because I was going to say Toby, Tom Holland had to go over to the Doomsday set to film some stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
That's one day, like, um, that's not much in there. But at the same time, again, these are all rumors, so we don't know is that um, there was going to be a relationship between Peter and Doctor Doom in this movie, and it was going to be a big focal point of the movie. But again, everyone assumed it was Tom Holland because of the relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker in the MCU. But what if it's not the Tom Holland? What if it's one of the other Spider-Men? And they were brought in. Um, they showed that somehow the sling ring magic could bring them into this universe, into the main
Sling
universe.
ring magic. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I
So I
don't
don't like
know.
the fucking multiverse, Dave. Because here we are. Oh no, but seriously, I think when this movie comes out, we're going to find out a lot of stuff that we speculated about, or that has been not us in particular, but a lot of stuff that has been speculated about is just complete bunk. However, as I mentioned earlier, making money with movies right now is an increasingly difficult task. And when you think of, well, what was the last really successful Marvel movie? Oh yeah, the one that had Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in it. So hey, let's bring
And
him out of
and
the bag. Yeah,
and
Andrew,
Andrew
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield. Yep, Andrew Garfield. The 40-year-old Spider-Man when he was 19. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I think that's definitely, and they're in the multiverse, so it's not like they're going to be able to do this forever. So I don't know if I like it because again, I don't like multiverse shit, but they are able to do it, and it helps make money, or at least you could reasonably conclude that. So why not?
Yeah. I mean, I can't see any universe where, because there was an argument like, oh, uh, I saw an argument somewhere where they were saying, well, maybe an incursion happens in Tobey Maguire's universe, so he
Sure.
teams
Yeah.
up with Doctor Doom to save that universe, and he's helping out Doom. But I can't see any universe where Spider-Man would help Doom, or that Doom would even
Right.
need his help. Like,
Right.
like that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, you're right. We're not going to know until we start seeing some kind of footage, some kind of trailer.
Maybe set photos, verified set photos. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? Because they're even saying any of the set photos that have come out are fake, and uh, probably because I think they're doing most of it on a closed set. Like this is one of the most well kept secrets of the Marvel universe. So
As well as
yeah,
it should be. I'm actually worried that so much of this X-Men shit has gotten out. And even if it's all fake X-Men shit that's gotten out, what if they're really gonna fucking bring the X-Men, right? But all this fake X-Men shit comes out, and what they're like, you know what, fuck it. We're not doing this. And they just take the X-Men out just to prove,
just to prove a
all the
point.
internet assholes wrong. Yeah. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, it's a legitimate concern because they've done red herrings on us before. They've put fake stuff in trailers.
Yeah.
I think the most famous one is the scene from Infinity War with Hulk running on with all the
Yeah.
heroes, and Hulk isn't in that movie at all. So yeah,
It was the Hulk Buster armor.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you have a legitimate concern there. So you let us know in those comments down below. Do you think Spider-Man's in the movie? And if it is Spider-Man, which version of him is going to be in the movie? And do you want it to be Toby? Do you want it to be Tom? Do you want it to be Andrew? Let us know. And yeah, and do you think any of these photos that have come out are true, or are they all AI? Again, let us know in the comments down below. All right, let's get to our movie review. So you and I both sat down and finally watched Frankenstein, the 2025 Guillermo del Toro version of the movie. It's available on Netflix. And before we get into it, we'll talk a little bit of numbers as we always do. Believe it or not, it has a box office because it was released in South Korea in the
So no Netflix in South Korea or something.
or some kind of regional restriction. I don't know. So it made $144,496 to date on theaters in South Korea. Weird. I don't know what that's about. I don't
Seems like a
understand.
lot.
Yeah. But over on the Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 86% tomato meter score from the critics and a 94% audience score as of this recording. So people seem to like it. And of course, I think one of the reasons that we're doing this is that it's I can't think of the actor's name. Poe.
Oscar Isaac.
Yes, it's Oscar Isaac as Dr. von Frankenstein.
Victor Frankenstein.
Victor Frankenstein. I know I threw the von in there because it's Victor Von Doom. So Dr. Victor Frankenstein. So we both watched it, and I'm curious, what were your non-spoiler initial thoughts about this movie?
My initial thoughts about the movie were, that's funny that Dr. Frankenstein asked Igor to help with the bags, and he said, which one, the blonde or the brunette? And then I realized I was watching Young Frankenstein, so I had to switch over to this one. I think this was a very well acted, cinematographed movie. The writing has bright spots, but it has a couple of low spots too, which we'll definitely get into. I will say that I think I feel a whole lot better about this movie because I didn't have to go to the theater to see it and deal with all that entails, overpriced popcorn and whatnot. So just sitting there watching it with my wife at home, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. Again, I thought it was very well acted, and I've got some nitpicks for it, but overall, I had a positive experience watching the movie.
All right. I was bored out of my mind watching this movie.
Okay, way too long of a movie. Let me just throw that out there.
I was like, is this 5 hours long? Because it felt it. I honestly, it took me 3 days to watch it because I stopped watching it a couple times and went and did something else, and then went back to it the next day to finish it. And I don't know if you've ever read the novel. There's they get to the same end point basically in this movie, but they made some fairly big changes that I felt were completely unnecessary and actually elongated the movie more than it needed to be.
So you have read the book?
I have read. I had to do a report on it, and I read the Cliff Notes.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I did. I also read a thing where it was comparing the differences between them, and
okay. So I was just wondering if it was close to the actually Mary Shelley or if it's.
Yeah, we'll get into the differences. So, but like, yeah, I will stand by Oscar Isaac's performance as Victor Frankenstein is really good. Jacob Elordi, is that how you say his name? As the creature is phenomenal. And obviously they're the only two you care about.
Well, you gotta like Charles Dance in there as his dad, but he's gone.
Yes. So yeah, like, it's well acted, it's well filmed. There's a lot of things in the movie that are well done, but you could have cut at least a half hour to this movie easily because it's stuff that's not even needed.
That's what honestly, I was thinking like an hour to a half hour at least.
Yeah.
The movie is way too long. It is absolutely one of my biggest criticisms of it.
And I think I would have loved it if they did that. So I'm thankful that I did not, like, I could not have sat through this in the theater. I would have fallen asleep and missed half of it. So so that being said, like, I guess I'm a thumbs kind of down, a little in the middle, down.
Okay.
You sound like you're a thumbs up.
Mine's like a
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
So
I don't like podcasting during the day because I can't do nothing about this big fucking window here anyway. So the light just way wider than I should.
I'm gonna buy you blackout curtains and send them to you because that's why I got blackout curtains.
Normally we do this at night, so it's
I know, so it's not an issue. But I know, but I film stuff during the day sometimes, and you gotta control your light.
Anyway,
wow, what a tangent. So that being said, that's our initial thoughts on the movie. It's free to watch on Netflix, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. If you have seen it or you don't care about spoilers, here we go.
If you're in South Korea, you will still need to go to the theater because apparently you don't have Netflix.
Apparently, or at least you don't have this movie on Netflix in South Korea. So the movie starts out with the expedition to the North Pole, right? Which
the way that Michael Bay's Transformers started out, believe it or not.
I was actually thinking that when I was watching it.
Yep.
And the crew is stuck in the ice. Now again, this is all in the book, but it's not how the book starts, right? But that's not important.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Since we're talking, so this part where they're stuck in the ice, right? Didn't it seem like they were completely encased 360 in ice?
It did.
Right?
Yes.
It wasn't just an ocean 20 feet. If they reversed, okay. I just
yeah. So when he frees them at the end and they're right back in the water, I'm like, huh.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, so yeah, that's
yeah. So yeah, and then of course there's an explosion off in the distance. They go check it out. They find Dr. Frankenstein hurt, and then and he's like, and they're like, oh, we got to help him bring him back to the ship. Which is one of the things, one of my other criticisms about the movie, and it's a silly one. The switching back and forth between languages.
yeah.
The crew and the captain are all speaking. I don't know what language it is. They're all speaking.
Stuck with either or though.
Yeah. Right. They're speaking a different language, and there's subtitles. And then when they find Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, like, they can understand them and they're speaking English. And it's like, so then why did we go through that? So
how do we go from France to the North Pole? Who knows?
So then you hear like a roar in the background and they're like, what is that? And then it's this creature. And of course it's the Frankenstein's monster, and he's chasing them down because he wants Frankenstein. They get him on the boat. They're like fighting him. Chaos is ensuing. Blah, blah. What were you thinking at this point with the how they introduced everything in the movie?
Yeah, no, I was like, oh boy, okay, is that Frankenstein? Boy, he's badass. He's got like Wolverine times 10 healing factor apparently. Okay. Why are they in the North Pole? Okay, whatever. I guess we'll have to see what's going on. That was my exact thoughts as I watched it. I thought it was a cool action piece. I mean, I'm not, completely poo-pooing it at all.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I was just, you're like, whoa, okay, this is Frankenstein, and so yeah.
The healing factor thing was something added in this movie. For this movie, he doesn't have they talk about him being immortal where he wouldn't age or be susceptible to disease, but he can be hurt in the book, Where this is like, yeah, he's like Wolverine. Like they shoot him and his parts grow back. It's just like, okay, how does that even make sense? You know, like I
Well, yeah,
understand
because
when.
we learn, because this has like a Pulp Fiction style. I'm sure there's an official name for it, but where you like
Uh-huh.
start at the end and then you go to the middle and then you come back to the end.
Right.
And so we learn where that explosion came from is, by the end of the movie, we learn that Frankenstein's like, oh, I want to fucking die here. I'll hold this, dynamite, and if it doesn't kill me, fuck, well, I'm gonna kick your ass, Dr. Frankenstein, because you made me this stupid, immortal, dumb monster that nobody likes. But he totally tanked fucking, dynamite.
Yeah.
And that's what that explosion was about. So yeah, I mean, he is like
Oh,
indestructible.
and that's the thing. Like, so they're trying to shoot him, and they've got this like elephant gun, I guess,
Yeah,
on the
blunderbuss.
boat.
Yeah,
Yeah, on the boat. So they're trying to shoot him with him. It's not doing anything. It knocks him off because he's on the boat. It knocks him off, and they're like, and the captain has the gun and he's like aiming it. They're like, you only got one shot left. It's not going to do anything. And he's like, I'm not aiming at him. And he shoots the ice, which causes the monster to go under the water, which was like a genius move. I'll give the captain that. But
should have used that to get the boat out of the ice.
thank you. That's one of the things I was thinking. Why didn't they shoot the ice around the boat with this before to get it loose? But again, there's no consistent logic in this. Because again, I don't think him being brought onto the boat and this whole thing, like I felt like that was all added so they could have some action at the beginning of the movie. So he brings them into a cabin, and then of course, as you said, Pulp Fiction. Now, like because the captain's like, what kind of monster was that? What kind of devil monster was that? What kind of devil created him? And then of course, Frankenstein goes, I'm the devil, and here's my story. And then boom, we go back in time, and they start telling his story. They start from when he's a kid. None of that's in the book. There's not like a whole long thing about his childhood in the book, yet there is in this movie. His mother dying in childbirth, not in the book, add it in the movie, which is also a weird thing to add because in real life, right? Like, thank God neither of us has experienced this, but when a spouse loses a wife in childbirth and the child lives, a lot of times they resent the child. They hold it against the kid who was born. But Frankenstein tells us, and they kind of show it in these flashbacks, that like, no, the father grew to favor the William, the younger brother, and not Victor.
Which is okay, so that is kind of a little meta, a little bit, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, because the actor Charles Dance plays my favorite character of the series, Tywin Lannister. And in Game of Thrones, Peter Dinklage's character, Tyrion, when he was born, his mother died. So he's this deformed fuck, that killed his wife. So he like hates him. And so in this movie, I mean, kid's not deformed, but almost same situation. And yeah, he's like favors him more than his weird older son.
Yes. So, and they go through this whole thing where he's learning from his father to be a doctor because his father's a doctor, which thank God that's not, how we do it today. Like, oh, I told my son how to be a software developer. He knows everything he needs to know. Just hire him.
He needs no certification.
No.
I have taught the boy. Yeah. Now give us the scalpel. Let him cut you in twain. Yeah. None of
that. And then of course, he becomes obsessed because his mother died that way of bringing the dead back to life. He goes off to university to finish his training, and they have this whole long scene of him showing them how he brought this half dead thing to life. But the thing is only alive while it's attached to this battery, and of course the heads of the university or whatever it is, it's like, oh, this is, you're playing God, we can't do that, not marveling at the fact that he reanimated a corpse. It's like,
it's an abomination. Give
yeah.
me more powder for my wig, please.
Yeah, it's so silly. Like, I don't know.
More powder, more blush, please.
I feel like it in the real world, people would be like, "Ooh, how can I use this to make money?" Even back then, like, people aren't going to go, "Oh, this was an abomination." I feel like that stuff that gets in history gets blown out of proportion on like how people would really react. Again, if people can, there have been, as long as there have been people, if someone can exploit something and become rich and powerful off of it, they're going to. They would have stole the idea from Frankenstein and used it for their own.
Exactly.
But of course, he leaves feeling a failure. But I can't think of the character's name. Benefactor that like finds him and
his brother's soon to be wife's father. Yeah, but I don't know his name either.
Hold on, I'm trying to find Heinrich.
But yeah,
Heinrich Harlander, played by Christopher Waltz.
Heinrich, yeah.
Heinrich is this like rich benefactor who is going to fund his research to bring a body back to life. So what were you going to say?
I was just saying, like, so most of the movie that we've described at this point, though, could have been cut. And it seems like everything they added that from the book. They shouldn't have added it.
All of this.
I did not need to know.
There's no benefactor that pays for him. It's not. So that character was created for this movie. It's not the Elizabeth's uncle. And so this whole backstory for Frankenstein is not in the book. Like, it basically like, it's a little bit of explaining who he is and why he's doing what he's doing, and then there's a quick explanation of, like, every movie has always done this big elaborate, like, this is how they brought the monster to life. It's not really described in the book at all. Like, that's why it's different in every movie, because there's no firm, like, he does this and this and this and this, and then it works. Like, there's not even any pseudo scientific term in the book.
That part of this movie, the detail at which they go through to show this process of how he learns how to do this, that is good. That I liked and appreciated. I thought they did a great job, far superior over any other Frankenstein story, that I know of, where strap him to a table, shoot him with lightning. Like, no, there was a whole thing that went on with this that I thought was cool.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I think Frankenstein is described in the book as a grave robber. Like, he literally does look for fresh people that were buried and dig them up to get parts to make the monster. In this, there's a benefactor who's taking him to battlefields and executions, and he's like looking at the people about to be executed, going, "Oh, this one, not this one," like, which added a weird morbidness to the movie than just digging up fresh dead people, and like just made it like, and I get it, like, in the actual story, it's always true, is like, when you look back on it, Dr. Frankenstein really is the villain of the story, not the monster, right? Like, that's the point of the story. And I get it, but that just added a whole new level of making him a monster. Making him evil in my
they did. I mean, they really did, because we don't need to go over every detail, I suppose. But they really did a good job of selling you that Dr. Frankenstein is an a-hole, completely batshit crazy, insane. I mean, He mistreats Frankenstein or whatever you want to call him, at the beginning because he's not very intelligent and goes like to burn down the whole fucking facility.
Yeah.
With him under it, so he really just, and he even blames shit on Frankenstein he didn't do. Like, oh, he attacked her. Oh, he attacked him. Oh, he killed him.
Right.
Just a really son of a bitch, that, by the end of the movie, you're just like, yeah, you can't wait for this guy to fucking die.
Well, and like, so, right. So going back, like the whole backstory, it was very elaborated on this movie, made it like a good half hour, 45 minutes longer than it needed to be. Like, because in the book, and I do want to point this out. So Heinrich dies while we find out Heinrich has syphilis, and that's the whole reason he's funding this, is because he's hoping this research will allow him to like live longer, I guess. Like, did he want him to put his brain in another body or something? Like, they didn't really. I felt that was a little confusing on what he wanted, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, hopefully this will allow me to not die because I'm dying from syphilis. And Frankenstein's like, no, like your body is too riddled with disease. It's not pure, which again shows you how arrogant and evil he really is. But there's a whole fight scene, kind of at the tower, and he slips at the top, Heinrich that is, and Frankenstein is like holding on to him, and then he slips and he falls, and he dies, which is I'm sorry.
I knew somebody, because when they first showed it's on the top of this tower, this big fucking hole.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as I saw like someone's going down that hole.
Right. I did feel it was a little too graphic when he went down and checked him and pulled his body up, and yeah, it was just like, oh, I felt like there was a little too much of that in this movie, but it's Guillermo del Toro, so you kind of expect it on some level. But
couldn't have him explode like the vampires in Blade. You can't do that in every movie.
I also wanted to point out that, like, I'm sorry, but Oscar Isaac channeled his inner Gene Wilder. So in this movie, in this story, when he first does the experiment, like he's like, so he the guy dies, but he still continues on. Lightning hits, blah blah, and like he's like listening, and the heart's not beating, and he starts. I'm like, I wanted him to go live.
Yeah. Now, great, perfect. So let me ask you, because this was something that really kind of hurt the movie for me. We did not get, it's alive, it's alive. Like, I didn't get any of that.
I know, and that's basically like there's no. Oh, it does seem like it failed in the book. Like he comes to life, like right away, and then Frankenstein's like, oh my god, I made a mistake. Like that's his moment when he realizes, like, I shouldn't have done this. It's not a whole drawn out thing of him trying to
you're not intelligent enough, so
right. It was like, oh my god, I am this is an abomination. I shouldn't have done this. And Victor's ashamed and runs away and leaves the monster, at his castle or whatever. And then the monster goes out and tries to live among people. Like that's what really happens in the book. But they were like, oh no, there's this long drawn out montage of him trying to teach the monster and the monster not learning, and him being angry and hating the creature because he's not learning. Until of course Elizabeth and William show up looking for the uncle who's dead, which that was the other weird thing, that the uncle was in a room the whole time laying on a table, where they tried to make it seem like it was months going by of him trying to teach the monster and the monster's not learning. So you left the dead body just laying in a room all this time?
Well, It's funny that you say that, and I hate to be skipping around so much, but like this movie does that. There's a later scene that we'll get into, I guess maybe a little bit, where like Frankenstein is like laid out for days,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, they just let him lie there until he
Right.
just
It's so
dusts
yeah.
himself off.
So famously in the book and in the movie, like after that whole scene when he tries to blow up the tower and whatever, now you're starting to get into like what really happens in the book, right? Like the monster goes out and he's trying to like just live, and he ends up watching this family where the father's blind, and he watches the father teaching the kids how to like read and whatnot, and he learns from that. Then the family goes off and they become friends. Him and the blind, like the monster comes to the house, and they start talking and they become friends, and the father teaches them and he reads books with them, and like learns and all this stuff, and starts feeling accepted. And then something happens, and this that happens in the book too. I don't think it's a wolf attack in the book, I can't remember, but the father gets hurt just as the family returns, convenient timing, and they blame the monster and they start shooting at him. But like you said, they shoot him and they think they kill him. He's laying by this bridge and they just leave him there. Like,
Yeah,
they don't
he
even
just
show
gets
him.
up.
Like, if they had shown them struggling to move his body and they're like, all right, we'll figure this out, we'll come back. Like, okay, but no, they just shot him. Like, they just show him shoot him. Like, what?
He's not even out in the middle of a field, nothing. There's like a walkway gate
Yes.
where he's at. So they're
Yes.
clearly coming to and fro.
Uh-huh.
Right by this body. But yeah, but they just fucking leave him there.
I guess it's a choice,
Another interesting fact, and I guess this, so you say this happens in the book, so I guess this would predate R.A. Salvatore's Driss character, but that's funny that both this Frankenstein and Driss Stewart, and they were both taught religion by a blind old guy. That's a meta thing for you R.A. Salvatore fans. Anyone else isn't going to get that. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. But
weird thoughts when you watch a movie.
Yeah, and so another thing I wanted to point out, Elizabeth in the book is never engaged to William. That was another weird thing that added to the length of this movie. There's this weird thing where William he hasn't seen William in years, and he shows up with his fiance, who's Elizabeth in the movie, and it's the benefactor's niece, and they go through this whole montage again, and it's in the whole beginning half of this movie where they're basically setting up the story. This brother William is the one going to the lab and making sure everything gets done and set up, and he's out on the town with his fiance Elizabeth, like they're having some kind of weird affair, some kind of inappropriate affair that ultimately in this movie goes nowhere. Right? Like after the explosion and whatnot, and William is now taking care of his brother because he lost his leg. He's got an artificial leg in the movie. He goes and talks to Elizabeth and is like, yeah, I wasn't in my right mind. I apologize for all that, blah, blah, blah. In the book, Elizabeth is a childhood friend of Victor's that he ends up marrying. So why they turned it into William's fiance that he has this weird relationship with, and then at the end is like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So it went nowhere. So what was the point of this other than to make this movie longer?
Yeah, no, and they do that again with Frankenstein. Remember, he's like, I want a companion. I need somebody. And he's like, no. And then Elizabeth dies, who even while she was alive was kind of into Frankenstein. By the way, this is sexy Frankenstein, by the way. The Frankenstein in this movie grows his hair long, and I shit you not, at the end of this movie, my wife's like, Frankenstein's kind of hot. But anyway, which, does wonders for my self-esteem. But anywho, but yeah, she has a relationship with him. She's starting to dig him while she's alive. She dies, and he's all like, I need a companion, and they do nothing with it. Like I thought they were gonna like. I was like, holy shit, is he about to like make her? And but he and again, the movie's way too goddamn long, so I'm glad they didn't. But it really was another playing a hanging plot thread in me because I want somebody, I don't want to be lonely. And at the end of the movie, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he is.
Well, and that's the thing too. In the book, that's the same thing. He wants a companion, and uh, Frankenstein starts making him the bride of Frankenstein. Like that's actual. That's something they made up. And then is like, no, I can't do this because again, he regretted it the moment the monster comes to life in the book. So it's just like, no, this isn't right, and that's kind of, when Frankenstein, the monster, gets really enraged and like wants to kill him, and traces him all the way to the Arctic, and then they have their final confrontation, and there's a big long speech about confronting your creator and life and being accepted, like, because that's the point of the book, that's the point of the story.
So
So
in the book, they go to the Arctic.
yes, yeah, that's
Okay,
what I'm
because
saying. A
because
lot
I
of
completely don't understand that. I don't know how they got from France to the Arctic still. But okay, if it was in the book, then it was all right. I'll give them that then. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't remember exactly how it happens in the book either, because like the boat, the captain, like that's all. Again, like I said, Guillermo del Toro takes his own path, but ends up in the same place. Where
Yeah.
there's the emotional confrontation between creator and creation, and the creator dies, and then the creature goes off on his own.
Now,
So
what about the religious aspect of the ending? We had the old blind guy. The first book Frankenstein's reads is the Bible. And then at the end of this movie, we have the confrontation. But by the end of the movie, though, this guy and Dr. Frankenstein are calling each other father and son
yeah,
in a very short order. Um, but then Frankenstein forgives Victor Frankenstein for everything.
right.
There's like this religious overtone to it. Was that in the book?
I mean, I guess.
Or and I know you said you read the Cliff Notes, so I guess, but I was just wondering about that. I'm like, wow, that's really kind of on the
Well, I mean,
nose, sort of.
but don't you think that's that's the theme of the book too? Is you know, confronting your creator. So, is your creator your parents? Is your creator God? And like that's the whole thing. The overtone of in the movie, and I did appreciate this, where it was like, say my name the way you did the first time, when it meant everything to you, right?
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite lines from the original Crow is the name of mother is God on the tongue of the children who speak it,
Mhm.
like, and it's true, right? Like that's how we look at uh our parents, especially when we're young, is that they're everything, that's their God, so yeah, I do believe that the same overtones are in the book, and it makes sense, right? Because again, I think that's the crux of the story, always, and should always be, is like acceptance, and confronting God and feeling like you shouldn't be here and you're not accepted, and accepting yourself, at the end, like, Victor's words at the end is like, um I'm going to task you with living, like, you just, if you're cursed to live, then live, like, go live life, whatever that
Yeah.
means. So so um yeah.
Which, if I was Frankenstein, I would just become some sort of like MMA boxer, undefeatable. Is what I would do.
All right, well, now we
Then you
know.
can buy all the companions you want.
All right, well, I think that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. um
Yeah, I mean, I I enjoyed it. It was way too long, so that hurts it. And there were some story elements that we spoke about that
so
hurt it, but there's some good parts to it too.
all right, so well, then let's let's score it like we always do. 1 out of 10. What did you
Okay.
What'd you think of Frankenstein? Oh,
I'm gonna
pardon me.
give Frankenstein 7 capes out of 10.
All right. I'm not gonna totally trash it because there are good elements to it. I'm gonna say 6. Yeah, I'll say 6 out of 10. Like, if you're a lover of the story and the elements, I think you'll get something out of this. Just be warned, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff that makes it too long and a little boring. If you can, if you can watch it with someone who loves Frankenstein, maybe you'll enjoy it together, kind of thing. But yeah, it's not the worst movie. I will say that it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but I've definitely seen better Frankenstein movies. So, all right, well, that is our review, and I think you let us know in the comments down below if you've seen the movie. What did you think of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein 2025? So, I think it is that time, Don. We've got to ask that question that we do every time we get together.
What did we learn on the show tonight?
What did you learn, or do you have any recommendations?
I learned that when we stream or record the show and it's daytime, that without any sort of blackout curtains for the show, I look extremely white.
You are extremely white, though.
But I am, so that is true, just not quite that. Recommendations. Well, I recommend that everybody comment on this video to encourage Dave to finish Twisted Metal as they announced the 3rd season coming out. And there are really some things I want to. I know we're not going to get the topic of the week crowd on discussing it, but there are really some things I just want to talk to you about, Dave, about the show, because as much as you hear me say like, oh, I love the show, I love the show, I love the show, there's some stuff about season 2 that I'd really like to complain about.
All right.
See if, but anywho, that's what I recommend.
All right. Well, I am off. I'm taking a half a day Wednesday, and then I'm off until Monday. So I've got a nice long weekend. I will get caught up on that.
Oh, that's right. We're not going to see the crowd again till after Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Everyone. Yes. I learned that no matter how bad something from Star Wars is, and I already knew this, that Don will defend it tooth and nail, regardless of what everyone else on the planet thinks. If it's Star Wars, it's wonderful. And I'm somebody who loves Star Wars too, but I draw the lines. Recommendations. I don't have anything. I thought I had something, but I really don't. I am going to recommend that you go and check out, if you saw the first one, I'm going to go see it. Go see Wicket for Good if you are a fan of those movies. And I'll just say to everyone out there in YouTube world and wherever you're watching this, and if you're an American, even if you're not American, go and have a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy some time with your family, because that's what really matters at the end of the day. So, yeah. And on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. See you next week.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe. It really keeps this podcast alive. Smash the like button if you please. It gives us what we need. Maybe leave a comment or two. It's a really nice thing to do. And what are you waiting for? Visit our merch store. But before you click away,